If you're an online trainer and you want to survive in 2026, this is the video you need to watch, because AI is going to wipe out 50% of the coaches in the marketing space. Now, the reality is the coaches who adopt and execute on the things I'm going to teach in this video are going to grow incredibly quick. And this is your decision. Which side of the fence are you going to sit on? Are you going to sit on the fence, inside of the fence, and actually leaning into this, where you can scale your business with AI and you'll grow really, really fast? Or you're going to be like dinosaurs and go extinct? Let's get into it. So there's three key ingredients, not bacon cake, 3 ingredients of what we need today. So one is I'm going to fix one big AI problem on this call. So like, what's the big thing you want fixed? If you drop in the chat what your biggest constraint is, so whether it be, let's say, for example, probably going to be traffic content, whether it's sales, whether it's systems, whether it's strategy, if you drop that in the chat, and that can kind of give some good basis things to go off. Second thing with here is like talk with others in chat, engage, ask questions. We can do some kind of Q&A as well at the end. And 3 is stay open-minded, because there's going to be some things in here which may well kind of melt your brain a little bit. So these are 3 really core components you need to make sure when it comes to actually building business anyway. Is A, like what is actually the main problem and like point of constraint your business. 2 is actually engaging with other people. And 3 is stay open-minded. And that's basically kind of the skill of being coachable. Now, who am I? I'm a former failed personal trainer, turned estate agent. Built one of the largest high-ticket fitness businesses in the world. We generated over $13 million in that business. I've sold over $19 million of products online. We've now helped over 1,200 trainers scale online, which is pretty wild in a very short period of time. And these are people from all over the world. Even like Will here is an addiction specialist. We have people from all types of different industries, because it's the same framework. It's just a different product you're essentially selling at that point. In addition to that, we've also had 20 trainers we've worked with break over $100,000 in 2025 alone. I've worked probably personally more coaches do 6 figures a month than anyone else on this planet. I've also done over 6 figures a month for the last, Aidan probably know better than me, maybe the last 54 months in a year, 50 more months in a row consistently. So like, it's not my kind of first rodeo in terms of scaling businesses. We've also scaled 2 and 7-figure businesses in under 12 months. So I know how to do it very quickly. And this was also before all the exciting things you have now with AI. Like, this was having to do things manually. We've actually taken our team from like 50 plus to now 25, and we make the same money and we get the same stuff done, because a lot of things I'm going to show you on today's call. So if we look at what are the core problems in 2025 going into 2026. So there's some key things we need to kind of be looking at here. Now, firstly, one is going to be content that doesn't convert. If that kind of feels like you, drop me in the chat, because that's very common. Ads that lose you money. So one of the things we're notorious for, there's a load of awards behind me. We've spent $1.7 million on Facebook ads. And obviously to do that, you have to be able to do it properly, otherwise I would be probably bankrupt. Thirdly is your Instagram inbox, LinkedIn inbox. Inboxes are like tumbleweeds. And fourthly, you have sales calls that waste your time and don't close it unqualified. Sacrificing your freedom to build a business that was meant to give you freedom, which is kind of a twisted relationship in terms of how business works. And I would be really curious, does anyone else feel that within their business, they're sacrificing their freedom to actually try and get their freedom, the thing they wanted? The thing you thought would get you the thing you want is actually kind of taken away. Just hands up, that's happened a lot of times to me in the past, but when you put the right systems and frameworks in place, this becomes much, much easier, which is what we're going to kind of break down today. So in terms of essentially what we do is this. Also gets worse. In 2026, this is my very strong educated opinion, is 50% of coaches are going to go extinct. Now, why? Because the coaches who are using AI, which hopefully everyone on this call, are going to replace them. And if you guys have heard of a guy called Dan Priestley, he's a good friend of mine. He spoke to me on a podcast maybe about 18 months about this. And he gave a great example of this. Instead of you having like a marketing team of maybe 100, you would have the best 2 people who would basically be able to replace the 100. And that's essentially kind of what's going to happen in the kind of the coaching space, where the coaches are sharp and who know what they're doing, and they're going to essentially kind of replace everybody else. Now, ultimately today is like, it's your decision to decide which side of the fence you kind of want to sit on. Are you going to be on the side where, okay, cool, I'm actually going to lean into this and use AI as something that I can kind of weaponize and grow my business and get my time back and make more money? Or am I going to fall foul of it? Because one of two is where you're going to be sitting on this. And there are 5 key AI tools you need for growing your business, which we're going to walk through. So one is something I like to call creating a second brain using AI. Like I come up with some nerdy terminology that's made up. And this is basically where it knows everything inside of your business is literally cloning yourself. Now, this is insane. This is like you actually duplicating yourself in the business. And this is incredibly easy to do. The second thing is CEO advisory AI. So it's basically having a consultant in the business to consult you. And this is like the biggest thing in terms of you being successful and everyone on this call for your business is your ability to make decisions. Now, where people go wrong is they don't actually analyze enough data when making decisions. The best thing AI is for is not actually automating, like replying to emails or whatever you want to do. It's analyzing huge amounts of data, like in milliseconds. Third thing is going to be a chief content strategist. And this is your tool for getting endless eyeballs of your ideal client. And I used a specific word, ideal client, because one of the things we focus on is, say, for example, taking data out of your business, running that through AI, and then pulling out the key top 10 pain points of your clients. And then from that, what we will then do, for example, would be we would create marketing propaganda. And I use the word propaganda because that is designed to like manipulate your target audience using negative hooks to then essentially kind of pull them into your ecosystem. Fourth thing we have is a chief media buyer. So this is your paid acquisition expert to help you turn clicks into dollars. Essentially, the goal of having a successful, sustainable business is where you can turn $1 into $4 repeatedly. Because the reality, a lot of people are trying to post and pray and hoping they go viral. Hope is not a strategy to scale your business. You cannot control the algorithm, and respectfully, not everyone can go viral, no matter how good you are at making content. But if you're smart and you understand basic maths, you can actually figure out how to run paid ads and scale your business. Because it's literally like 1 + 1 = 2. Cool. Like, how can we get these numbers kind of work together? And AI makes this a lot easier now. And fifth is having a sales data analyst. And this is essentially your secret weapon for scripting sales frameworks. It can also make you in terms of closing assassin, in terms of increasing your closing percentage. Clients we've worked with, particularly when they first come to work with us, we statistically see a 17% increase in revenue just from this one thing alone. Because for you, in terms of growing your business, you just need to do 2 very simple things, which are booking sales calls and closing sales calls. And that is, in essence, the game. You can just play that game up to 100K a month, and then it kind of gets a little bit more complicated. But up until then, it is very, very simple. Now, what I want to do is I want to look at some practical applications of this from an AI standpoint. And the first one is going to be kind of the Picasso method. Now, this is on LinkedIn specifically, and I'd be curious, has anyone heard of the Picasso method or got any guesses what that is if you want to drop them in the chat? Okay. Actually, Aidan, you had a question there. Anyone wants to guess how many sales calls booked per month? What was that in question related to, Aidan? Is he there? Is he bounced off? I know he's got off. Okay, well.
Yeah, that was just on the figures on the fitness side of the business. How many sales calls do you think it took monthly to generate that revenue?
Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, what we had in our own business.
Yeah, exactly. If anyone wants a wild guess as to what it looks like in terms of to generate or to break more than 10 million of online sales, how many sales calls a month you need to be booking? Well, not need to be, but can book. Because
I actually don't know the statistic what it was a month. I know it was daily.
Yeah. On daily, but across the month, I mean, it varies slightly, but you're looking at between 1,200 and 1,400 sales calls a month, every single month.
Yeah, and that's where kind of friction of scale comes in, which is kind of a big thing, right? So things can go wrong pretty quickly at that point. And this is where if you have the right systems, it kind of make it very easy. So the Picasso method on LinkedIn, why I call this Picasso method when it comes to content is essentially Picasso made artwork from essentially like taking inspiration from other people. Now, in essence, why this is so easy to do is AI can take formats of proven formulas, and I'm going to do this live on the call, and it will recreate it into like another winning formula. Now, drop in the chat if anyone's using LinkedIn here already, just put like LI as an example. So if you want to target executive men or people who charge higher amounts, and Dermot, good man, if you want to charge higher amounts and you want to make more money and you want to work with more affluent people, this is where you make a lot of money, because it's not a huge traffic like source where you're going to get thousands of DMs every day, but you can get one person. I got a guy we work with who charges $25,000 for a coaching program for fitness on LinkedIn. And the only different thing he does is he gives them a whoop band, basically. That's kind of it. But he's got a cool name for his program and it sounds good, right? So this is how simple it kind of is if you get in front of the right people. And I can kind of give you an example in terms of like how we do this specifically now. So from the LinkedIn standpoint, I'm going to bring up literally walk you through how we do this. So I'm going to do it in my own AI as well. So let's say, for example, we go to here. Cool. So essentially, the Picasso method, you find something that's worked. So I just went on LinkedIn earlier and I was like, okay, cool, this is pretty sick. I think this would do pretty well. This was an interesting post I thought was interesting. It's also got a lot of engagement. It's got reposts, it's engaged. It's like an outlier on this guy's profile. And you might be thinking, well, Charlie, this isn't a specific post to, this is a specific post for people about fitness. If I want an online trainer, you're 100% correct. And I will explain for you why. Now, why LinkedIn is one of the key platforms we also teach people and also the easiest platform to make organic content for. If I was to tell you that only 2% of people who are users on LinkedIn make content, that's a big attention arbitrage because 98% of people don't post anything. They watch and they consume. Why? Because if, for example, I'm the CEO of Porsche, I can't put my political views or whatever I want online. But I don't have a boss who fires me. So if I want to put online X, Y, Z, whatever, or like political things about the UK, I can do because I can't get in trouble. But a lot of people will resonate with my messaging. So essentially we can kind of do the same thing with this here. So one of the things I find works very well is, and I can show you some of this in more detail. One is using stuff that's like marketing kind of business related because business people buy into it. Now, if I were trying to target executive men, why would this post resonate with me? They probably like cars, Lamborghini, BMW, Porsche, Jaguar, but you probably want clients who drive those cars. Like if that's you, drop me in the chat because if someone comes on a sales call and they're driving around in a Porsche, I'm like, oh, dude, probably like this is a good lead. Like if you see that on the on the application form, you're like, thumbs up. So in essence, essentially how we basically do this is I would go into ChatGPT and I would come into my own content folder. So in here, I have all our files. I basically build out everything in terms of what we would need. I then have a chat, which is going to be specific for LinkedIn. And you can see other kind of posts I put in here. I'm very, very simply going to come to this caption and then I will literally take this, copy and I will say, normally I would voice note it. So you click the little dictate button and it's way, way easier. So Aidan, can you just make sure everyone's muted, please? Please rewrite this caption in, please write this caption to go viral on LinkedIn. Make it triggering with a super strong hook. Make it a 10 out of 10 rating. I'll explain a 10 out of 10 rating in a minute. And then also add some form question or engagement at the end. Cool. Copy and paste whatever the guy before put. His caption was actually terrible, to be fair. So with the way platforms work, so I can tell you for all of them, you want to make sure, particularly with LinkedIn, that you have a really strong like first two lines, because a lot of time it will say you can't see the rest and it will click to then say read more. So with all the captions, you want to make them as long as possible, because the way the platforms work is it's hover time. It's like how long someone's hovering over a post. If someone's over that post for longer, it will push it to more people. So generally we want to try and maximize that stuff out. So for example, we want the first line to be triggering and like Marmite, so it's going to polarize people. So if you've got a car payment, you're not rich. I know that triggers some people, but this is the truth. It's okay. So what I would then do is I'd put rate this out of 10. So if you take nothing from this call, please just take what I just said. Anything you put in that's written into AI, just ask it, rate this out of 10 for me. So rate this out of 10, and then also make a version that is max length for LinkedIn. It's probably gonna be like an 8.5 because I don't think that's very good, even just skimming it. And actually what I could do is I can make this prompt better. I'll just say it 9.3. So ideally, like it knows it can make a better version, it just hasn't. It could go deeper during storytelling, psychology, way worth people think this way, okay? So if you've got a car payment you're not rich, that's a lot. This alarm will trigger people. I spent the last 8 years avoiding high net worth individuals. Okay, so I would then rewrite that because it's not to context to me. So please update this and rewrite it with full context to me and my business. Also, please add in details from my own life stories and belief systems in the project files. Okay, so one of the things we do to get the AI to work so well is we build like story archives and belief systems in, so then it will rewrite it specifically in terms of based on my own background. So here you go. So when I was younger working as a estate agent in the UK, I thought success was a drop car in the driveway, the watching list appearance and winning. I financed cars, I couldn't really afford. Like, you can see how good that is now. That is specific. Fast forward a decade, I built a business that's eight-figure business, served 17,000 customers, moved to Dubai, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, here you go. So like, that's good. So if I then literally just take that and then, actually, so just rephrase, remember, rate this out of 10. So rate this out of 10, because we changed the prompt. This is much easier if you also just dictate it, because you can give it a really, really long prompt then rather than kind of type it out. But obviously I can't kind of do that when I'm on a Zoom. 9.8, it was pretty good. So this is also this, you know, I said earlier about the skill of having 2 people instead of 100 in marketing. I have the skill in terms of copy, so I kind of know what kind of frameworks look good and what doesn't. Which is why you still need to learn the skills, and why AI won't replace people fully. It will just make people who are really smart even better, essentially, which is essentially kind of the game. So if you've got a car payment on rich, that line will trigger people, but it's truth. That looks pretty good. Cool. So with stuff like this as well, I've just taken, I normally would just take, and I would also probably just steal his image. Let's just do that because I'm going to be lazy. Just click save. And then if I go to my LinkedIn, and I'm also going to give you, this is not a LinkedIn course, LinkedIn call, but we can kind of get, I'm just going to show you some stuff I think is really valuable anyway. Downloads, where are we going? This one? Cool. Next. So when you post images on LinkedIn, another hack is make sure it's on the right kind of ratios. This isn't cropped right. Ideally, you want it to be kind of a square image, but we would just leave it as it is because the guy's original image isn't right. And I'll just do this, copy paste, obviously remove this, and then you just want to make sure the spacing's right. So if you've got a car paint and you're not rich, make sure you don't have these stupid dashes. And then this is essentially how you've got to post. And what I do a lot of the time is I will get an idea. I use ChatGPT on my phone, and I would just voice note it saying, I've just walked out of the gym, I've done a really hard rowing session this morning, talk about why entrepreneurs need to push themselves, why training first thing in the morning is the best thing to kind of clear the head. It literally takes me like 30 seconds and it'll give me a caption. And the more you use it, the better it kind of gets. It's just about having everything kind of set up correctly. And this is where you can basically create your own marketing department that takes you like 10 seconds for you to make endless posts. And this is the big thing we're helping our clients like crush it with, because if you can basically just get out market people and post more content than people, and it actually bangs and it resonates, you're laughing. So like, I can guarantee you this will do pretty well because it's a proof of concept. It's the same thing. We do a lot of stuff on YouTube right now. So we will look for things that are proven concept. And you know, I said a second ago in terms of why for LinkedIn, you also need to make sure it's longer. Can you see how it's cut off at more? If you've got a car payment in Norwich, that will trigger people, but it's the truth. Now people want to know like truth why, so they click more. And then they start reading through. And this is where your post will then start to get pushed out a lot. So that is one framework in terms of how I use AI, but then also getting it to kind of storytell about you is the important thing. And the last thing we should talk about on LinkedIn, why this is such a valuable platform, is 98% of people don't post on it, but the people who do get a lot of eyeballs and has more organic reach than anything else. We are picking up more followers on LinkedIn than any other platform right now, with no ads, with me just sending a voice note into my phone with random stuff that I come up with, or doing literally just what I showed you. And you can see, obviously a lot of coaches follow me, but like a lot of people who come into my world also would be like directors, like investors, they're decent people who have got a lot of wealth. And it's a very, very easy kind of platform to monetize. Generally within LinkedIn, anyone who's competent, you very easily make $10,000 a month within 2 to 3 months just off this one platform as a minimum, because you should be able to sell at least 3K coaching programs on here, like nothing kind of cheap. So that is in terms of like LinkedIn, how we would use it as AI as an example in terms of using the Picasso method. Now, you can do the same thing in terms of any other platform with any type of written text or copy. You could do the same thing in terms of like a carousel post, for example. Like all of those things work very, very well, work in the exact same kind of framework. Now, the next thing I want to show you is, if that was helpful, I hope it's not gone over people's head, drop a yes in the chat, because I can go deep in that. Second thing is Go High Level AI. So Go High Level AI is Go High Level as a platform is like a Swiss Army knife that can literally do like everything. So in full transparency, we are affiliated with Go High Level. We have a lot of, our business is all kind of built into them. They are amazing for everything. The only thing, this is me being honest, the only thing I wouldn't use it for is dialing, because we maybe do 2,000 outbound calls a day. It doesn't have a great power dialer yet, but it has got some sick stuff from an AI functionality standpoint. So what I want to show you on that aspect is, if I can get this out of full screen, is this, where am I going? Here you go, cool. So this is one of our accounts. Let me just refresh this. So there's a lot of components in here you can use in AI. One of the best ones is actually even the conversation AI. So we've also got voice AI. So you want AI agent section, you've got voice AI, conversation AI. You've got everything you can ever kind of think of in here that you could use from an AI standpoint. Now, in terms of essentially here, this is our own bot that we've set up, but we can test this. So let's say, for example, Aidan, give me a scenario of a client. We can ask a question. Pretend you can be a prospect. Who are you? What are you going to ask?
Yeah, so generally anything who reaches out will have a lot of people who maybe come through, and probably the biggest like pain points, either belly fat or energy levels.
Okay.
So maybe,
Okay, so
yeah,
let's say you're a guy in you live in Spain and you want to lose belly fat. Hey, I live in Spain and I am looking to lose belly fat. Cool. So this is, thanks for that. Are you looking to focus on only losing fat, or do you also want to build muscle as part of your goal? I also want to build muscle and increase my energy. So this will literally walk people through the entire conversation flow. And this is using AI. So this works phenomenally well for particularly for people who have got a lot of engagement or a lot of followers and also have too much volume. So I think
look at the responses here. There's no emojis. There's no over the top punctuation, long dashes. Like, this is so important when it comes to building out any kind of AI. Like, we build the tonality in this to be responding in this way, right? You don't like, you can go like the regular route. If you take this and put it into ChatGPT, you will see a massive difference in the 2 replies you get from this.
I was making up a really random source. I want to drop 10 pounds and be able to run a marathon under 2 hours. Basically, like the fucking, I've got a marathon world record. Let's see what it says. So like, this is an example in terms of like how, got it. Do you set a time frame in mind for dropping 10 pounds running a marathon under 2 hours in my lifetime? So this is just an example of, we can keep kind of going all day long, but this is one framework in terms of how I would Go High Level in terms of from the DM setting standpoint. You can also turn this on and off. So if you're covering your own DMs yourself, you can have this kind of work outside of hours, or you can kind of do it yourself. So it has kind of the frameworks in terms of that. It also has the ability to come up with conversations and kind of give recommendations in the chats as well. So, and you can turn it off. So if you've got a DM setter in here, they can come in and they can turn the conversations on and off. One of the other things with Go High Level World, which is incredibly helpful, is you can build websites. So if you, here you can go to Funnel AI, click continue, and then let's say I'm going to make Jacob a website, Jacob PT, let's see, I think I'm a personal trainer. So it'll come up with a framework of a website pretty much straight away, generate, cool. So basically it's going to build a custom AI website for Jacob now. Obviously we're going to have to come in and add in the images and kind of tweak it around. But these are 2 of the very cool features, I think, on Go High Level very well. It does have other things where it can do things like creating images for you and other types of written content, but transparently the other stuff we do utilizing building bots into ChatGPT far surpass that. So we'll come back to this once Jacob's website is kind of finished. Maybe it takes kind of like a minute or two. So in terms of basically what we basically look at after that, we kind of flip back to this, is actually I want to give you one other thing. So this is going to be helpful. Drop in the chat. Does anyone here use YouTube? Make content on YouTube? I think James, you're nodding. You use YouTube? Anyone? Just drop me yeah. Okay, because if not, I can share something. Okay, cool. So one thing that's very, very helpful is having the right frameworks in terms of from a scripting standpoint. So this is something we've started using. We also run this through AI as well. Is this now? Once we have the ideation, which is what we build the AI systems for. Let's say I've got a type of idea, which I know is a proof of concept, and it's going to be how to drop 20 pounds in 4 weeks just walking or something. I can then put that in there, run that through AI, and use this as a framework and ask it to fill in the gaps with all the knowledge base we add into the systems. And it will basically do the framework of like, what's the point you want to talk about? What's the story? What's like the teaching lesson? And it does that throughout the whole video. Now, if you think all great pieces of content, essentially what do? Is they hook you, pull you in, they give you a point and a story and then teach you something. It's kind of like the hero's journey. So this is something we want to consistently kind of do. And what I can do is I can share this with you. So you've all got a copy of this as well. I'll drop that in the chat. And then by then, that website should have finished. Cool. Why is that trying to go? Cool. So let me know that opens okay for everyone. And then if we come back to our website, which is in Go High Level, which is here. Cool. So Jacob, do you like cycling? Okay, he's nodding. This is good. Maybe Go High Level knows something, because for some reason they put cycling on it. I don't think that's you, but like maybe it's done a good job here. So like obviously this is going to need customization to kind of fit in. It's just built out like the kind of frameworks, but it literally did that in like 30 seconds for us while we were kind of talking there, right? And it can do this automatically. You just drop and plug and play your own stuff in and kind of off you go. So there's tons and tons of other features you can do with Go High Level here that I don't need to go into in terms of like building voice cloning stuff and for dialing and things like that. But these are kind of like some of the key basic things. And then also like the autoresponders create automations off of DMs. So from that basis, what I would say, one of the most important things for people to do is to make sure that they have automations running. I'm just going to switch my Go High Level account to one of the other ones. Just give me 1 second. So one of the most important things to do is once you start getting a lot of traffic, is then also how to kind of monetize this, right? Is pulling people into conversations automatically from content. And then you basically want to pull them into this when this decides to load. So, cool, should be able to see my screen is, okay, so let's say we pick on this, this one's done well. It's got 176 people in the conversation, right? So this is basically a workflow that's firing off of a DM from a story. So people are coming in for free guide, tag, wait, we then message them on Instagram automatically, and it waits, we DM them again, it waits. So we have a full kind of conversation flow. The initial framework in terms of these, how you get these to work phenomenally well, is you just give the person the guide and open up a conversation and setter comes in. The later messages that we send are sending people into long form content that's just kind of relevant to the thing they've opted in for. So you can see we've got 100 people here that are scheduled to get automatic messages without anyone touching it. This is all just using automations and systems. So if you're not using this right now, this is one of the most powerful things you can do, because essentially everyone's job on here is, once you've got this architecture in place, is you're basically like the quarterback. Your job is to try and like drive traffic into the business, and there's other stuff there to sweep it. If you're not using Go High Level already, we have a 28-day trial. Aidan can drop the link in the chat. You guys can get access to that. It's completely free for the first 28 days. Have a play around with it and try all that stuff there, and it will definitely help you. So you can see from our own business, that's literally kind of what we're using. Now, if I'm going to flip back, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, just for reference, with that link, it's actually a full snapshot of everything you've just seen there as well. So you actually have it's not yeah one of the benefits of partnering with Go High Level is
You get a clone of our entire Go High Level, so that Aiden's very excited. Aiden's the operations tech guy, so he sets up. It's sick. So you get all our systems for free, basically, for a month.
Yeah, I'll get the link. I'll put it in the chat in a sec.
Cool. Cool. So now the most important thing is like what happens when you actually like implement these things and you build out the AI, you get everything kind of working, is you scale really, really, really fast. And this is where business is really, really simple. Like I said earlier, it's like booking calls, closing calls. You just need to generate traffic, get the traffic into a buying conversation, close a client, and then get a great result and obviously kind of get referrals and that type of stuff. A really good example of this is a guy called Bernard who came to us in start of August. And transparently, he actually decided to quit and close his business in, I think, April or March for a week. And then he got his sanity back and then restarted it because he was hating his business so much in terms of what was going on, the way it was going to be running. And like with some very simple things, you actually Aiden on the call has been messaging here. He went from $38,000 to $120,000 a month, selling in the Netherlands. So like not in the US, not in the UK, to Dutch people. I think there was a chap on here who's Dutch as well. So like this shows it kind of works in every market. And I'd also say if you're not in the UK market, it's actually very easy in other languages. Second great example of this is Kieran. So he lives in Portugal, he's Irish. And so he is also working one-to-one with Aiden, to be fair. And he scaled to 70,000 a month. He's getting a 54x ROAS on his ads. And a lot of that is using the ad strategist stuff that we kind of build out. Caleb just quit his job on the gym floor and now makes 10K a month PT, just with some very basic stuff we kind of implemented. A lot of that's with AI. Now, how do we get these results with the coaches we work with? Now, the most important thing you want to think about is with AI is giving you huge amounts of leverage. Because as I said earlier, the most powerful thing you can do is analyze massive amounts of data instantly. And this is where the definition from Archimedes is like, if you give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to stand to place it, like he can move the world. Because like literally, if you can create enough leverage, you can do everything. And this is essentially like what the world we live in now. AI is like the ultimate leverage tool. But if you also put that with two other things, which we also use AI to build. One is media in terms of content, and two is in terms of paid advertising and traffic. Like this is where it's like the perfect storm if you know how to do all these things, and it becomes incredibly easy. And to give you an example in terms of like the power of AI, one of the most important things you can do is this. So drop sales in the chat if you take sales calls. I presume probably everybody here is. Cool. And then drop in the chat, are you analyzing? I'm going to show you, because I know a lot of people won't be doing this. This is literally what you need to be doing with all of these calls. So we should have these on this computer still. Okay, cool. So yeah, cool. Perfect. Everyone is. So this is, you hate money if you're not doing this. I'm going to give you like a piece of the secret sauce here for free. So in my drive, I've got some sales call transcripts the last 30 days, so I can upload these. Now, why have I got Zoom sales call transcripts and conversations? I've probably got, I don't know, maybe 200 calls in these files. So what I essentially would then do is like, this is the best thing you can do for your marketing, is please review the attached sales transcripts, then pull out the biggest pain points and marketing angles for my ideal clients. These are the exact things that keep them up at night. Also, what is the one pain point I am maybe not aware of? Cool. So this is going to analyze like 300 calls in probably 30 seconds. This would take weeks to go through. Biggest pain info. Lead flow instability, I spoke about this on here. Burnout, unstable, and unsustainable workload, I spoke about that. Low price we haven't spoken about, I kind of touched on that. Platform reliance and tech issues, content confusion, lifestyle pressure, trust in mentors. For any reference, I kind of showed everything I do behind me. We've got loads of awards behind me. I've kind of done the thing. Important thing for me is like, if you're going to be a fitness coach, you should be in really good shape. If you're going to be a business coach, you should know how to make money. And it gives me marketing angles. So that literally, if you're like, oh, I don't know what content I should make, just do that. If you also have loads of like one-to-one coaching calls with clients, I would do the exact same thing. But it will give you all the marketing advice you need. The one pain point you might be aware of, identity crisis and thriller. Sounds not. I haven't asked this question before. It just randomly came in my head. I really feel like they're not very well, are they? Yeah, I think that's probably a fair one. So, what would I then do with this? So, let's say, for example, I want to make short form content that crushes. I would then ask, please give me. I would do this in my content file, but I haven't done this, but it will come up anyway. Please give me the top 5 negative hooks I could use for an Instagram reel. Make them triggering on pain points that keep prospects up at night that they would only tell their therapist. Make it a 10 out of 10. Cool. So that 10 out of 10 prompt is really powerful. You're not building yourself a business, you're building yourself another shitty job that pays less than your 9 to 5. That's a pretty good hook. I like that. Like, that's kind of, so you can see how easy this is. It comes very, very simple. So this is a basic framework. If you struggle for lead flow, you have all these resources and data within your business. And this is the exact thing that we do with all our clients, is we teach you how to basically kind of pull this stuff out and then be able to scale using it. Because essentially this is, excuse my language, this is where you like mind fucking people. You're literally like reading people's mind. They will like watch your piece of content and be like, dude, I feel like this guy's in my head. Because like, oh, I've literally having this exact problem. And the reason for that is if your content, your marketing is very specific, it will be very effective from a conversion standpoint. And it's that saying, like, you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. So you want to focus like the sniper rifle instead of the Gatling gun, and then just kind of have the right frameworks around that. If you get that nailed down, then that will help you phenomenally. I think Ada's just dropped the link in the chat as well. If you want to get the free copy of our software, just don't share that link and kind of keep it to yourself. Otherwise, we will get in trouble with Go High Level for sharing all their stuff for free and our own stuff. Now, you can see, can you agree with me there? Just drop me in the chat if you agree that you can see the leverage you can do with that. You just, in a minute, you've analyzed 50 sales calls, you've got all the marketing you need, you've got everything done kind of straight away. It's incredibly kind of simple then to do this. It's just knowing how to do it and like having the right questions and also kind of building out the back end. Now, once you've got the back end broken in, it's so easy then to get this to kind of work. So, and I could spend 4 hours kind of going through this today, but my goal today is to give you kind of the key important overviews. Now, what we do in terms of like our own business, in terms of work with clients, is we run a done with you and a kind of done for you model. Now, like I talk a lot of analogies, and essentially that is where if you teach a man to fish, he can eat for a day. Sorry, if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he can eat for a lifetime. Like the job is like we give you the fish and we also fish with you, so you can't kind of mess this up. So if you back yourself with everything you do, it's impossible you won't crush it. Like it's so easy with all the tools you have available right now. But I'm working less but getting more done, particularly from the creative standpoint and the analytics standpoint, because I'm not having to manually write any of this stuff anymore. Now, what we do in terms of the people we work with, we do one-to-one calls and messaging with, like, we have a team like Navy SEALs within our business who work with everyone. We do 5 group calls a week in terms of the 2 programs we have. We do one-to-one sales call reviews on everything. And this is new, we'll actually build your full AI setup. So all the things I spoke about at the beginning, which are the AI second brain, which is wild. I actually use that a lot to help me on a personal level from a journaling standpoint. 2 is the CEO advisory AI. 3 is the AI content strategist. 4 is the chief media buyer. So like how do you run paid ads profitably and get those to scale? And 5 is like the sales data analyst. Like when you have these frameworks set up correctly, it's so easy in terms of scaling your business. Now, this AI setup is going to cost $5,000, but for everyone on the call as a first case study, it's free. So like we will build this out for everyone for free. Now, there's one thing you don't get, and that's all day to make a decision whether you want to do this and you want help in terms of building out AI in a business. And we are only offering this for clients. We book a consult call off this webinar as our first case study group. So like we literally just putting this together this is the actual stuff I have in my own AI systems, like my own personal ones, we're putting into like other people's businesses. So we want a handful full of people we can run it through first, optimize the setup, and that's essentially what will be for anyone in this group. So what I can do is I'm going to drop a link in the chat. where you can book a call to work with, like to speak with one of us in our team, and we'll literally map out like where you're already business right now, what the point of constraint is, and exactly how we can fix that. And then we will also build out all your AI stuff when you kind of work with us. We also have financing options now as well, which is basically as little as £464 a month to potentially work with us, depending on what level of our programs you want to work with. So like that's how simple this is in terms of you scaling this. And I said, we're capping this in terms of numbers because it's very hands-on. We're only limited to like 5 people. So in terms of the framework of us building your AI out, I can drop a link in the chat for you guys to kind of like book in, and we can kind of speak with in terms of specifically what that will look like. But it's very, very easy to get these things kind of moving very, very quickly when you get them implemented. So I've dropped a link in the chat, guys. If you get booked in for there, you absolutely rip. Ivan, you're currently a client of ours, so we can get you sorted out anyway, dude, so don't worry about it. But it will crush very, very fast. Now, in regards to questions for AI, what have people got for the next 3 minutes? We can throw some around. Christian, have you got any questions? Obviously, we spoke on WhatsApp the other day. So you don't mute yourself. Or Mons? Oh, I can't mute you. I think I'm on your phone.
Sorry, I was busy booking a
That's
call.
right.
Remote working. Sorry, the question again.
Yeah, do you have any questions on AI? Any questions they want to drop in the chat? Or Ivan? Okay. Christian, you go then.
Yeah. So in terms of the buildup of the content and the setup in itself, do we get that on the call, or this is something we get now?
That's when you start working with us. So basically what looks like is when you start working, we need you to fill in about 8 documents, like, or get the resources for 8 things. Once you give us those 8 resources, and we'll give you the stuff we kind of need to fill and compile, we will then basically put that with other documentation and instructions we have on our own, and actually build out all your projects and everything in AI for you on the call. Like, because there's certain things we need to make like we can make an AI that's a general that would be good, but it's not specific. So the reason AI crushes so well for me is it knows everything I do inside out, like everything. It knows like it will have this conversation we're having right now in AI. Like everything is going to be recorded, is pushed into there. So it has background information. So that's kind of essentially in terms of like how it works is once you start working with us, we would get you to give us complete, I think it's about 8 documents or like 8 pieces of information we need. We then have probably 15 documents and files and other kind of instructions that we add into that, which then get everything to work perfectly. And that's how you basically have all these tools to fire automatically. And you basically then have in your pocket, you can just voice note and things come out perfect. And these are like one-time systems. Like once it's done, it's done. And it just gets better and better and better and better. In particular, the AI second brain, because it's like learning about you and your business, the way we kind of structure that, it works phenomenally well. Cool. Any other questions? We've got any chat. So, okay, cool. So what is the best prompt to ensure chat continuity? Are you using, Shrita, are you using Claude or ChatGPT?
I use Claude.
So like that I know it's happened a lot in Claude. It doesn't ChatGPT. I've never had that in ChatGPT. I've had that in Claude before. So with that, the problem is if you start using threads that are way too long, it's reanalyzing everything you kind of said again. So I would start creating new comments. At a certain point, you're gonna have to start a new chat. So at that point, you could create a prompt which is export everything from this chat into a data file that I can download, and then you can start a new chat and then upload that. That's a way around it.
Okay. And do you still recommend? So I remember listening to a podcast with, I think, Jody. You were saying that time was a lot better than chat. Would you say?
I agree. I agree. So this is also where context of things move so quick. You see, I'm smiling because it's true. That's testimony. So I'm glad you pulled me on that. So Claude AI is good. ChatGPT, in my opinion, is way, way better now. So like my thing is that the AI is only as good as the information you put into it. ChatGPT a year ago was kind of sucked for like written copy. I think it's on the same level as Claude now, if not better. So instead of having two different systems, it's like you wouldn't have two CRM systems, right? I'd rather have one system that has everything, has full context, because otherwise you're kind of like, oh, well, I wrote these ads in Claude, but then my ChatGPT that I use for decisions doesn't know about it, and like you kind of bounce in between two. So I would focus on whichever one you find you're most comfortable with. I was using Claude and then went back to ChatGPT when I think when they brought out ChatGPT 4. ChatGPT 5 now is much better. And then where it will be in a year's time is frightening. So like I've gone down rabbit holes about learning about like vibe coding, and I can build software with AI and kind of like playing around with it. And we've actually got an AI specialist who's Serbian who's joined our team now as well. So it's important to make sure that you're kind of staying ahead of the curve. And that's like essentially our job. It's like, okay, this is what's happening, this is what's working. And you pulled me correctly that, yeah, we were using Claude, but now we've gone back to ChatGPT because it's better as an overall kind of system.
Okay, thank you. And when it comes to organizing, so like, say you have a content coach, a lead gen, like should all of these be individual projects or should they be chats within like one major project?
You want to break everything into subsections in terms of projects, and then make sure you have the right information in all those projects so it has the right knowledge sources. So like, that's why I say AI is only as good as the tools you give it and the resources you give. And essentially that's what we help everyone kind of build out. It's okay, you then have the perfect AI system that works, and then it actually makes copy that sounds like you. So like it will use the exact terminology you use and the exact words you use. Like we have some systems that do that. And like Mike, who's actually sitting over here in my videographer, he made a document of like the way I kind of speak, and I read it and I was like, commonly used words. And I was like, I say all of these things all the time. But that's kind of right where it's freakishly weird. And we do other things like using personality tests and stuff like that to make it very specific.
Cool. And those are included in the workshop tools?
Yeah, we do all that. We do all that stuff as well. There's a question there from Lisa. What fitness platform has the best AI integration at the moment for both clients and coaches? If I'm honest, Lewis, no one yet. I'm actually really kind of surprised, and I'd use the word kind of disappointed. I haven't seen that. We've been playing around with using AI agents for helping coaches set up clients when they come in off their onboarding forms. So we have one or two clients kind of using that right now. So that works, but I haven't seen like a Trainerize or a Kahuna's really kind of hit the ground running with that yet. What about GenSpark? Sorry, you go ahead.
I would say across the board on that, since there is no one who's like jumping out as being ahead of the pack, I would still personally recommend Kahuna's just because of their chat features being a step above quite a lot of the other platforms. And when it comes to check-in, like the side-by-side comparisons and a couple of other things, I think they're still probably edging the competition on everything else, and ease of use. But yeah, none jumps out as having tons of AI. Yeah.
Not yet. And also my job on here is to not give people ideas. So like, don't anyone think, oh, I'm gonna go sign AI coaching software. Cause like I had a couple of people say that to me recently. I'm like, dude, the problem isn't building the software. The problem is getting the clients into these things. It's the hard part. Someone asked what about GenSpark? It's a combination of, I've never even heard of it. To be honest with you, the amount of AI softwares are out there is insane. Like there's a new one every other day. So, free to enlighten Adrian, I don't know what it is, but it's kind of like the joke I think I put on Instagram the other day is that the number one business actually being put out of AI businesses right now, being put out by AI is other AI businesses because they just replace each other so fast. Would I use Go High Level or VA first? It depends. If you've got a lot of volume, I would use Go High Level AI to kind of help with that because the speed to lead is important. And then I would use, recommend having a decent quality VA to handle a lot of the work. We would generally recommend a VA because it will outperform AI in some respects. But then for example, if I think of a client we have who works in the Indian niche, he might get 1,000 comments with which are starting conversations. You'd have to have like 10 DM setters. Like the whole thing has a meltdown, whereas the AI can kind of handle and sift through that all for him. So that's a good framework. Did you have any questions on that, Mike?
No, I was kind of just asking you off the back of that. Like, say, for instance, if you're looking to go for a VA first or Go High Level, like, say, for instance, what would you put first? So, kind of answer my question, but like, you saying like,
I would get Go High Level set up first for you to kind of manage the DM setting. We also do some stuff which is insane on Go High Level, which we set up for clients, which is in creating a follow-up system. So transparently, Aidan is like the master of this. Our clients we have who are doing, say 100K a month plus, or like doing decent numbers, they will do around 1,000 to 1,500 follow-up DM conversations a day, like of old leads. Now, why is this important? So for example, Mike, if you're going to send 100 new messages a day, that's 3,000 a month. That's what, that's 36,000 a year. Okay. In year 2, you can then follow up with 36,000 people in the conversations, right? Because people will come and buy. So it's just having the right system to be able to kind of turn over that lead flow. That makes a dramatic difference in terms of the 2 things when you do, which is like booking sales calls and closing sales calls. What is the best way to use Facebook? I've 67,000 on there. What's your niche pool? Where there is. Please unmute yourself, dude.
Well, I've kind of got 2 niches. My LinkedIn niche is farmers, and then my other niche is Gen Pop.
Are you in Ireland?
Yeah.
Dude,
I've got 1,700 connections on LinkedIn. All farmers is farmer content. Only been that last 6 months, and then Facebook is just more Gen Pop.
Okay. You probably know Dave Kennedy, right, and his brother.
I did. Yeah.
Okay. So Mike and Dave are doing $250,000 a month selling to farmers in Ireland. They're actually coming to my house on Friday to come do a one-to-one session. So, dude, they don't use Facebook. They don't really use LinkedIn, even though I'm telling them to do that. So like they focus predominantly just kind of on Instagram. I'd say, not saying that there isn't leads on Facebook, but you know what I just said there about the follow-up system that Aidan's kind of like the master with? Essentially what we basically help them do is, I'm going to try and be clever and do this with this shitty whiteboard. So essentially what we do with, say, someone like Dave, is we drive traffic in the top end. Sorry, this is my trackpad drawing, so this is not going to be a Picasso masterpiece, so bear with me. So essentially we drive people in the top end, and essentially when they come into, say, your IG, what we then do is that we start conversations. So we're messaging new followers. Can anyone see my screen? It's just come out with a warning on my screen. Okay, cool. So once we basically drive people in from organic content and then basically paid follower ads, we drive them into there. We then create conversations. We have a system in terms of how we can voice note clients, and it doesn't look like it's like it looks like it's you, Paul, sending someone a voice note. And then essentially, if they don't get into conversation in terms of booking a call, we then basically pull them off into like a follow-up sequence in Go High Level, and that then churns them over to eventually booking a call at some point. Or if not, they come through and then they become a call, and then they hopefully sign up into my wonderful drawing of dollars, which I'm not going to get any awards for drawing that. But that is in essence in terms of like the framework we would use with those guys, and say something like Instagram is kind of a better platform. Facebook on your main feed, I would actually just use the same content you probably use on LinkedIn. It works very similar in terms of platform, with like the long written posts and images. And from a marketing standpoint, for everyone here, everyone actually on Instagram, carousel posts are becoming super hot again. So I know we spoke about automations, and like I showed you one of ours, for example, which has got 180 people going through from a story. But let's say, for example, I'm going to show you this. If we're going to create a carousel, we can create carousels that then constantly bring us leads in, like over and over and over again. So like I showed you there in terms of how you funnel people in top of funnel for, say, for example, something like Dave Kennedy's business. If you've got a carousel like here, this constantly gets called. You also get, I said earlier we call like 2,000 people a day. This guy obviously didn't like this, guy's retarded. And so you get comments like leads after leads after leads all the way coming through. So like some of these are in 2 days ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 3 weeks ago, like loads. And this was posted in July 22nd. So this is still bringing leads and starting conversations automatically from a post we did a while ago. So like when you have these basic frameworks set up, the quarterback analogy is we're just pulling people in constantly into the business, if that makes sense, Paul.
Yeah, I would actually add to that as well. I'll drop a 1 in chat if anyone here has ever seen Charlie on an ad on Instagram. So I'm going to guess that there's at least 2 or 3. So what I would say on this, Paul, is one of the things you can do, or one of the things we do from an ad point of view, right, is we would pull 67,000 people who follow you on Facebook. We would create a custom audience, which is then going to allow us to retarget those people with content on Instagram. So essentially, you would pull that audience into the content that would then be shown to them on other platforms like Instagram. They're already familiar with you, and that's just going to give you a little bit of a head start on like your lead gen on that front.
That makes sense, yeah.
And this is where like I really try and simplify it. This was stuff like I'm gonna be transparent with everyone on the call. Like a lot of people really overcomplicate this, and like my job is to try and like simplify stuff. It's like we get traffic in, we get them into conversations, we get them into a call, you get them into client, you get great results. You get great results for clients that stay with you a long period of time. And then what happens, in particular in fitness is even better, is they recommend their friends. Because it's like, oh, like moms, how did you get in such good shape? What happened? Oh, I started working with this trainer called Aiden. Like what then happens? Your friend's like, who is this Aiden guy? Then they follow Aiden on Instagram, and then it happens all over again, right? And essentially, like the goal is, yes, you create the acquisition system so it's really, really good in terms of bringing clients in. But if you can, this is how you scale your business forever for free and create a really stable business model. If you can get one client to recommend 2 friends consistently, your business will grow forever for free. And the best people who come into your business will always be referrals. Like 7-figure scaling systems grew insanely fast, particularly in the beginning, just from referrals. Same with our fitness business, because I really gave a shit, and we really give a shit getting people results, and we know what we're doing, and it becomes really, really easy then to be, you just kind of like snowball effect, because it's word of mouth, because people want to work kind of with good people. We've got a lot of ones in the chats. I think a lot of people have probably seen ads. Cool. Any other specific questions? Can be A related, business related, or anything else you guys need help. I've seen some of you guys, I think, have booked a couple of calls in. So the system in terms of with the AI, this is literally going to be like me taking everything out my own personal AI. We're going to build into everything you guys are going to be doing. And it's really going to become an unfair advantage. I also can add a second hack that I would keep between everyone on the call, is I got given loads of stuff working with Alex Ramones and his team, which is basically a lot of stuff we've added into the AI on the back end. So it has a huge knowledge base that is like loads of my own resources and conversations, but also some stuff that we got from them, which is really good into frameworks to build into the back end. So it helps insanely, in particular on hooked, closing, and the ads. Those are probably the best 3 things I think we've improved dramatically with that, which is essentially is more that acquisition end of the front end. Sean, have you got any questions? I appreciate it's early for you, dude, so I'm going to put you on the spot if there's anything you need more support with on here.
Not at the moment, thank you.
Helpful?
Yeah, everything's been helpful, thank you.
Charles, if you drop a message in or in your Slack channel, and then we can arrange to help getting you help and set up with the AI stuff as well, so there's no issues. Does anyone have any specific questions or anything else they want to run through tonight? You can ask me anything you want related to your business. Be selfish. Like just, like we had a guy at our event once who like literally like raked me for information like for half an hour. Just had like, he literally had like a page of questions. So like, if you have any questions, now is a free resource to kind of like interrogate me for anything you want. There you go. Okay, there you go. We started it. We started the waterfall. You go first, Damon.
Okay, brilliant. So just for ChatGPT and with, feeding it the information, feeding it the context, I've noticed when it gets to a certain point of information that it basically slows down and starts lagging, and it's just really annoying to use. So I suppose, how do you get around that?
A lot of that is if the chat gets too long. So sometimes you need to start a new chat. So like what is that? Because what's happening is it will read back through everything else in the thread. So if you've been using the same thread for like 3 months, it's got so much stuff it's trying to read back through and reanalyze.
Okay. I've still tried new ones, but it seems to be still active.
Sometimes it can just be the amount of people on the system. So to give you some context, I know the uptake of ChatGPT was 1.5 million users per hour in terms of the amount of people who are joining it. So it can be laggy. I found Claude was actually worse for outages than ChatGPT. One of the things to make sure as well is that you have ChatGPT 5 and ChatGPT, like the top level version. You tend to have less issues then as well.
Okay. Also, you Windows or Apple user? Sorry, just quickly. Windows or Apple user?
Apple.
Okay. So generally when it comes to that as well, because AI generally is like quite a power hungry use, have a look and make sure things like cookies and cache are cleared. Have a look at like just simple things like background running apps and like your general RAM, or like a simple like Mac tidy up kind of thing. A lot of the times when we see like certain applications slow down, Slack is terrible for it as well, can like drain power when you've got like hundreds of thousands of messages on it. So yeah, I would just have a look at like back-end systems and make sure everything's running on its latest version, because a lot of the time, if you're seeing consistent problem like that, it's going to be potentially on the computer as opposed to just inside the app as well.
Okay. Sweeters, you've got a question.
Hey, so I have a question about my niche and
Yep.
potentially
niche.
So basically my niche is men that are like 25 to 30-ish. They used to be fit in the past, but ever since starting work, they gained a lot of weight, 25 to 30 pounds, and they're very logical, analytical thinkers. Now, the people that I'm getting as clients kind of naturally fit in, like half of them fit in, but I'm mostly like a fat loss kind of coach. Now, me being Indian, I've gone mostly Indian clients. Do you suggest kind of spreading to that niche as well? As an Indian person
wait.
myself,
Where do you live?
I live in the Boston area.
In Boston.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, dude. What did you do? What's your background? What did you do before this?
I work in IT.
Okay, I was going to say target Indian guys in like the San Francisco area, or like Asian guys. Good thought. So like, not like you specifically put that in the top of your bio. Like I help Indian guys in IT specifically in the US, but like that's kind of what I'd push to. So if I give you a good example, we have a client, a guy called Nathan Johnson, and he does $140,000 a month, and he is a South Asian fat loss coach, and he is a white guy. So, like, bro, they're going to be way more relatable. So, like, for one of the things we've helped him with his business is actually getting, like, in a polite way, brown people in the front of the videos, because they tend to like resonate better with his audience, rather than like when he kind of turns up with tattoos and stuff. So, yeah, I would probably push that narrative. It's massive. Cool. Mom, you had a question, shoot. How does one get to a guest on your podcast? I can probably send you something over afterwards. We can kind of see if you're a fit and kind of win. So yeah, if everyone hasn't checked out our podcast as well, we have some wild guests on there. We have some incredible ones coming out. Also, we've spoken a lot about AI here today. The one that's actually out at the moment with a guy called Jordan Lee, he's a guy speaking at our event in November. He does $5 million a month, and he only started the business 3 years ago. He has a sales team of over 100. It's an insane podcast. Like, there's so much stuff in terms from a value standpoint. So like, go and listen to that. Like, if I'm gonna give you one piece of homework from this, like, just listen to that. There's a lot you'll pick up from like the two of us kind of speaking. Mike will see you at the November event. Anyone else who's dropping there, will just put November in the chat. The event is gonna be sick. So it's gonna be very hands-on in terms of stuff I'm gonna be teaching. Jordan's gonna teach a lot of higher level stuff as well. And then we're gonna have a Q&A stuff with the people in the afternoon. Aidan, if you could also drop a link in the chat for the event in November. There's a link in my bio as well. I also saw Kelly on Sunday, actually, at Martin's at the gym. So yeah, I think you're from that kind of crew. So does anyone have any kind of final questions, or is that it? If not, do you use AI to create and or automate? So the content we make is using graphic designers. So you can use AI to kind of create some of it. I think it's kind of a bit shitty. Whereas if we do it custom, it's way higher performance. I actually think one of the better things you can do instead of using AI is, let me show you this. Here's a really easy hack. Where's an example? I haven't done one for a few weeks. Okay, cool. So, it's actually about AI. There you go. So, ignore my horrendous golf swing. I've got 0 thoracic rotation. So, this is literally just I used AI to write the copy on this, and then I made this in Instagram stories on my phone, and then just saved the images, but it crushes. So this is the type of carousel I would kind of do some of those, like stuff like this is really, really easy. It's just having the right context, the right copy, and it does great. Like stuff like this, obviously this is an image, but if you can do carousels, they do really, really well in terms of from like a framework standpoint. Like here's with the Kennedy Brothers farmers, so it's good examples, like kind of storytelling. But I would use I would use AI to kind of write all of that. So it's very, very simple. Luis, do you want to go first to your question?
Yes, it's very similar to the kind of South Asian niche and my offer. So I work with like Latino clients for like the last, I don't know, 5 years, because I'm from LA, in Los Angeles, United States. But one thing that I found was people felt excluded. I would put helping Latinos who are professional Latinos, but I would get like white people, Black, Asian, they would feel excluded. But I kind of, but at the same time, I would attract either their partners or someone who loves to travel. So I think my question is, what do you recommend from your experience, still dialing down with that niche and that offer, or just showing up as myself and I am?
I would show it with my whiteboard. So basically I've got, the way I think about it is that unless you have a clear niche, like we've spoken about Dave Kennedy a lot here, he sells to farmers because he's a farmer and lives on a farm. So it kind of like makes sense. Whereas like, I would generally rather stay slightly broader and have like a slightly bigger kind of potential market. But how I would then speak to that market is I would be very clear, like what are my brand values in terms of for you, right? So for me, I've literally got this written on a whiteboard for me. I wrote it at the weekend is like, okay, what do I want me to be associated with? It would be fitness, fatherhood, I'm gonna be dad in a few weeks, well-spoken professional, disciplined and consistent, like ads and omnipresent, like Dubai lifestyle, have a nice lifestyle. I built 2 7-figure businesses in less than 12 months, and I'm pretty direct and to the point and probably pretty masculine. And then my enemy is like fake gurus or people who's like trying to sell something they've never done, because I have a big gripe with that, because I think it's not ethical, not moral. So like I would then speak to those people in the content, because also the way social media is working even more now, it is going to go like that. Followers don't matter. It's about the relevance of the content. It will get pushed to the right person. So if you make content around, if you say, for example, you don't brand your content about Latino people, but I'm sorry, that's political way to put it, but let's say like you make a reel and you speak about that, it's going to get pushed to that audience automatically. And it's also the same way in terms of how paid ads work, because it runs through AI and it will fix the targeting based upon that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. It's like, I think I see Nathan's stuff. Like he's like South Asian market seems like he's killing it on that. So it just reminds me of like just making recipes, for example, related to the market or stuff like that. So
yeah, I would test it, but if you find you've got the same thing coming to you over and over again, then I would do it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you have the question.
So my question is pretty similar. Well, one thing that I see a lot of people actually tell me is that you're quite young, right? For me, when I was 14, I was like 130 kilograms and I've lost all the weight. So I know everything about fitness that somebody should know. But a lot of people come at me and they tell me like, you're young, why should I actually listen to you?
Okay, I was trying to cut you off. I'll give you the easiest answer straight away is be overly professional with everything you do. So like I would come on the Zoom call with like a professional background. If you don't have a nice background behind you, you can create like the fake ones you can put in the Zoom. I'd come on the call like with a shirt or like a collared polo shirt, like look really professional apart, and automatically people will take you much more seriously.
But essentially, like, with the calls, that's something that I can control, right? With my own vocabulary. But if we're speaking from like a content perspective, right? When I make content, I'm always trying to target people who are over 25.
Yeah.
When they see someone who's 18, it's just like, it's not essentially like gonna bring me that many.
Well, I'd even try to do the same thing in the content, is try and like age yourself up a little bit. So like if I'm transparent going the other way, I try to age myself down so I don't look older. So like I will sometimes be like clean shaven so I look younger rather than older. So like with you probably want to be a bit like, you probably want the other way. If okay, let's grow a bit of a beard and like try and make yourself like, how can you dress slightly older and look slightly older, if that makes sense.
Okay. And I also have another question. And I've done more marketing before.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually done it when it comes to face videos, right? Yeah. And something that like struggling with a lot is I'm talking to a block. I'm talking to a metal block, right? And there's like I don't know how to be myself when it comes to a camera block. That's like I speak like a robot.
Okay, so this is the easiest hack for everyone on this call in terms of like content. is give yourself a piece of a task. You have to go on your stories and talk about something every single day for a minute, 30 seconds, every single day. Just talk about something that is relevant to your audience or a story tell about you. Now, why? Because you suddenly realize that no one gives a shit, dude. Like, no one cares about me, no one cares about you, no one cares about anyone's call. Like, no one's going to care. And if anyone kind of gives you flack on stuff, like, it is what it is. Like, I get people all the time comment like nasty, horrible things on my stuff, but it's like, dude, if their life is so exciting, they have to try and like troll me, then it's I feel sorry for them rather than the other way around, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Also, just a good framing for this is let's say we gave you a job tomorrow, right? And I said, okay, I'm going to give you a salary of 10 grand a month, and I need you to speak on camera on stories every day. You would do it because it's your job and you have to do it, right? But that's the only thing standing between you and breaking 10K months. So, like, it's always useful to look at it like you're an employee in the business as opposed to.
Yeah. Like, would I rather remain poor or would I rather have to film all day on camera? It's like, I'd rather just fucking make the video. Like, I used to work 60, 70 hours a week as an estate agent and have to spend 2 hours a day driving on the M25 for everyone who knows the UK. Like, it wasn't a fun situation. And like, I did that, I built a coaching business and was competing in bodybuilding and doing loads of crazy other shit at the same time. So like, I know it's hard, but like, it gets easier the more you do it because you get more skilled. You kind of just get thicker skin. So, yeah, it's just kind of reps. Cool. So I was probably a bit direct, but if you do one document analyze ads on ChatGPT and scale this, what would you focus on? I would export all of your data and run it through and then ask it for feedback on why it's not performing the way you want. The one thing I'd say in terms of like ads ecosystems is a lot of times it's not even the ads. Sometimes it can be the offer and the price. It's the sales process. It's the way the calls are being closed. Which is why in like a business, like in our business, I'm like chief revenue officer. Like I run the ads and I will manage the sales side because I see the whole ecosystem of how everything works. So like the way we would run from ads from a perspective is like, if I give you an example, like in screen share, is like, we have very advanced ad tracking in terms of what we do. So like I have so much data that I can see exactly kind of what's going on. So this would be inside this is one of our campaigns. This has got, I don't know, what's this? £61,000 in ad spend on that ad campaign. So it's got, what's that? Okay, yeah. And we have something called high rate. We use with our clients, which is pretty high level in terms of, in our business, the clients, I can say, okay, we've made £53,000 profit on this one. This one's made 38,000. Like, I can see all the numbers at a granular level because we know how to run ads and we have the right systems to do that. So sometimes it's not necessarily just one part of the ad equation. It's the sales part, it can be the offer, it can be the pricing, it can be the kind of the structure. What is your recommendation to an average ad spend month? Okay, so this is a kind of this is a tongue-in-cheek answer, but it's like, if your marketing works, you don't have a budget because you can just spend more, like touche. But generally, I would recommend a maximum of 20% of your income, roughly. So let's say, for example, you make $10,000 a month, is you spend $2,000 a month running paid ads. I wouldn't kind of go over that ratio. If I was going to give you some other financial numbers, I look at about 20% cost in terms of fulfillment. So then, okay, cool. If your margin should be about 50% when you're at scale, maybe 48, around that, once you're north of like $80,000, $100,000 a month. Once you're less and you have a smaller business, you will have a higher margin because you've got less overheads and less costs involved. Now, one of the things that often holds people back is they're afraid to invest in themselves and also their business. But it's much better to have a smaller percentage of a very large amount than you've got the whole percentage of a very small amount. So that's kind of the way I think about it. And the best city in the US for entrepreneurs benefits, like, bro, Miami, 100%. I toy with the idea about, I love, Miami would be sick, dude. So that's the best city in the US for entrepreneurs in the fitness scene. So that's where I would go. I think it's good. How can I find, sorry, you go. Vegas is okay. It's not, actually, Austin, Texas. There's a lot of, Austin is good. And I'd probably third that to maybe Vegas would be the other one. Vegas is good. LinkedIn, so what I would do on LinkedIn is just create content and try and drive people into my profile and then outbound message them. I wouldn't particularly recommend, we've done a lot of cold outbound on LinkedIn. It does make money, but from a time resource perspective, everyone on here should be focusing on posting on LinkedIn with literally what I walked you through today, because it will take you 5 minutes a day to do, and you can grow a significant audience on that platform faster than anything else because it actually has organic reach. And then all I would do is I would just target people who come into your profile views on your feed, and then start conversations. So it should be like, hey Charlie, I saw you checked out my profile. What is it you're looking for help with? Is you looking to build muscle? Are you looking to drop body fat? Is there anything that you need? Is there anything I can send over? Like, just reach out, because if they're jumping on your profile and it says you're a fitness trainer, like there's probably a reason why, normally.
Is there anything else that you do when starting out on LinkedIn to kind of help to speed up your growth if you're starting?
Yeah, so commenting on, I would find 10 people who are in your ideal niche, who are like have the biggest audiences, and I would go into their post every day and comment, because it will then come up in their post where loads of people are commenting and engaging. So like, if you do that, that helps, and have decent conversations there. I would say that's probably the biggest hack. I would avoid using growth tools, because there's things like link boost and stuff like that. They can push your content to go viral, but it's just to like other marketing people, and it doesn't do you any favors by any means. And you also, on that platform, you have to be very careful in terms of automation tools in general, because it can shut you down pretty quick. Question for Ricardo: do you think focusing on ladies 30 plus to Dubai is good news? Because a lot of ladies in Dubai need husband opinions. So we've learned, at one point, this is if anyone like, I'm a math nerd. So if anyone's a shocking statistic, I think in 2022, 30% of Dubai had seen a fitness ad from me. And I would be in like I specifically remember this. I was sitting with my girlfriend in Akai spot in Dubai Marina, and some woman came in and was like, oh, I was just talking to you on Instagram about like getting in shape. I was like, it wasn't me. So like, it came in from like a DM ad, and we came on a DM ad, and like I don't know, someone was speaking to her, but it's a kind of a prime, or like it was insane. Like, I'd get in the lift in my building, and like the guy who I'd got in the lift, who was already in there, was a client of ours, and I didn't know. Like, it got really awkward at one point. So, like, obviously you're not going to know everyone, right? So we have got 1,000 fucking clients at that point. So, but that's an example. Like, Dubai has a massive niche in terms of from fitness, and it's really, really cheap to run ads here. Like, way cheaper than anywhere else. The female ads are actually better than the male ads, because you run female ads, like the Filipino people aren't really going to respond to the ads. If you run male ads, you get like Deliveroo and Talabat drivers who are Uber guys who are replying to them, and it's like, you either get that, or you get a guy who's like a multi-millionaire come through. It's fucking one or the other. Very few is in between. Cool. I think that was the last questions. I hope it was helpful, guys. I think I've seen a few guys who kind of booked some calls, so I will brief the team in terms of everything we've got today. There's going to be a ton of stuff we're going to be implementing with those first 5 people come through on the AI side of stuff as well. And as I say, like, it's literally like the biggest unfair advantage I can say to anyone here. So like, if you take anything from this call, just take AI super, super seriously, because it's evolving very, very quickly, and it's going to give you an unfair advantage over everyone else. And then Sarita, in your question about current clients, yeah, we will sort that out for everyone else as well. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And then if there's any other questions, drop me a message on Instagram or LinkedIn if you want. I'm probably on LinkedIn quite a lot, to be fair, at the moment. So yeah, I hope it's helpful, and we'll speak soon. Now, if you took tons of value from this video and you haven't seen enough value in terms of like why you should be working with this and why you should be signing up, check the other video on the screen right now that YouTube will have recommended to you. And if you do want to find out exactly how to actually implement AI and allow us to build these 5 tools into your business for you, hit the link below this video and you can book in a call with us and the team. We'll map out the whole plan for you in your business and your full journey in terms of scaling. We look forward to seeing you on the call, and make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next video soon.